Now, who doesn't love Asian food? The flavors, the smells, the happiness. In fact, according to Pew Research, Asian food is so popular now here in the United States that nearly 3/4 of all U.S. counties, 73%, now have at least one Asian restaurant of some kind. Making that number even more impressive is the fact that such growth comes while only 12% of all restaurants here in the United States serve Asian food. So there's a lot to take in there. Asian food, very popular here in the U.S., but there's also a lot of room for more growth. And that's where this woman comes into play. Meet Norma Chu, founder and CEO of New York Stock Exchange listed DayDayCook, a true innovator and pioneer, someone who has taken their passion for both finance and cooking and combined those passions to create the largest cooking and lifestyle content platform in China, which, by the way, is rapidly expanding here in the US and throughout Europe. But don't take my word for it. Hear all about how DayDayCook and how the company came about from Norma Chu herself.
DayDayCook, our mission is to promote the joy of Asian cooking to the world, and we do that by owning a growing portfolio of Asian food company. And all of our companies and brands basically produces, very innovative, convenient meal solutions for the future generation. Yeah, so 12 years ago, DayDayCook really started as a content creator. So the concept of promoting cooking as a culture, preserving this heritage, really starting with me as the show host, doing these short form video content, teaching people how to do very simple and traditional Chinese home cooking. This is how DayDayC started. And it was started in Hong Kong, and then a few years later, we expanded into the Shanghai market, into mainland China. And then with that, I think the horizon for the company really changed. So with media, we started doing some experimentation with content and commerce. And then a few years back, I've decided to launch our own branded product portfolio that really brought the company from media to media commerce and now to a consumer company, providing food products that can really enable other people to cook at home in a much more convenient manner.
You heard that correct. DayDayCook started as a content creator and morphed into a media commerce company and then a major consumer company, that of which it has become today. A natural progression. So I had to ask Norma, speaking of progress, what sparked the desire to progress the Asian food culture? Were there any influences in your life when it came to cooking? Did you perhaps want to be the next Martin Yan? I asked Norma these questions, and here was her answers.
I think it really started at a very young age. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, but I grew up in the States. I grew up in Seattle. And I think, when I was growing up in my early teenage years, I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my mom and dad, with my grandmother. And I think that really was the beginning of the concept of DayDayCook. And then later on, during my mid-20s, I moved back to Hong Kong. And I realized, a lot of people had a very busy lifestyle and they didn't really have a chance to cook. Or they think cooking was more, complicated or cumbersome. So I really want to change that perception. And that's the start of DayDayC. Growing up, I watched a lot of Martha Stewart, definitely Yan Can Cook, and also Jamie Oliver. So that's a perfect reason. Like when I went back to Hong Kong, I was like, I want to be part of that. Part of that person to promote the cooking culture and preserve that heritage, right? That basically telling our own story through cooking. And so, without the Yan Can Cook back in Hong Kong, I started creating these video content. So yeah, having all these influences at a young age really inspired the beginning of DayDayCook.
So it's safe to say that DayDayCook is already making waves all across the globe. The expansion of the brand continues, as just last year the company had its New York Stock Exchange IPO under the ticker symbol DDC, a dream come true for any business owner. Now I had to ask, how did it feel to be here at the New York Stock Exchange after years of hard work to ring that bell and make the company that you founded go global?
It did happen overnight. So far, we're going into the 13th year of the company. So it's been, first is what we're trying to build, which is a cross-generational company. This is still the very beginning stage of DayDayCook. And, the whole process has been very interesting, very rewarding, and also I think for me as a founder, as an individual, it taught me a lot. And I think now that we have completed the listing, it's really a phenomenal beginning of our next chapter of the journey.
Now let's talk about Asian food's growth across the country. I myself, telling Norma, I grew up in Flushing, Queens. The Asian food scene in Flushing always strong, but once I left Flushing, once I left New York, the availability of such cuisine and ingredients, not always there. But now across the nation, currently, even across the globe outside of Asia, Asian foods continue to grow in popularity. Asian restaurants can now be found in the middle of the U.S. countryside. And as a result of COVID, more people are streaming their attempts to cook Asian food online and using their kitchens a lot more. It's all over my social media feeds. My question to Norma was the following: how have you, DayDayCook, the company, looked to capture that market?
Yeah, I mean, you summed up those three major trends really well. So there's a recent industry report that really looked at global consumer, not just in the US, and US was a part of that study. A lot more people are cooking at home. Probably 43% say that they cook more at home now versus 12 months ago. And and the other thing is 3 out of 5 consumer really think home cooking, their kitchen, is the epicenter for them to try new recipes. So they're becoming a lot more adventurous. So they're on this discovery journey of new flavors. And within that journey, East Asian cuisine is one of the most popular cuisine of choice. So I think adding all these 3 things together, and though on top of it, I think convenience used to be associated with a lot of additives. May not be so healthy for you because you want something quick. You gotta give up something that's delicious. But now the way we come up with our products is really having a clean label focus. So meaning you can cook something very conveniently, but also be good for you.
And the ultimate question still exists: what does the future hold for DayDayCook? What is the ultimate goal for the brand? For that answer, we go right back to Norma Chu.
Yeah, I mean, the growth strategy for us is simple. We have 2 strategies right now. The first one is really continue to establish and expand our footprint beyond the mainland China market with a primary focus in the US. So recently we announced and closed 2 acquisitions here in the US market. Definitely very exciting time to be here. The second one is really continue to roll out our multi-brand strategy. So if you look at near term, really partnering up with authentic founders that have great brand story, great product portfolio, and fantastic sales network here in the US to come join the DayDayCook family. And if you think about longer term, when I think about the future 5-10 years or future decades of what we're trying to build here at DayDayCook, is really to become the Nestle's or General Mills for Asian cooking. You can definitely check out our website first, which is DayDayCook.com. I have a portfolio. You can check out, what type of brands that we own, and basically at your neighborhood grocery store, from Kroger, Target, Whole Foods, to Costco. You can find, our Nona Lim products and also Yai's Thai products.